I just rented this place in Japan and it came with a complimentary bonsai. I'm just kidding, I bought this. But it was a very different experience to renting in Australia. So I wanted to talk about the differences and some of the things that surprised me about the rental process. But first, let's do a quick house tour. Take your shoes off. Okay, to start, we've got the genkan or the entranceway, and there's a ledge here. So this area is shoes on, and from here on, it's shoes off, no shoes in the house. We normally leave the pair of shoes that we use the most out, and everything else goes in this shoebox here. Shoe closet, really spacious. I obviously need to buy more shoes. So Kay put these covers to kind of protect the shoe closet as well. And on the outside, we've got a mirror so we can check what we look like before we step out of the house. I love that. And then when we're coming in, we put on these slippers. How cute are these slippers? And then you can come into the house. In here, we've got the toilet. There's a bit of storage up here. It is not a Toto toilet, but it does have a washlet with the heated seat, which is fantastic. And then the bathroom is separate, which I really like about this place. I think it's pretty common in Japanese. So this is our little bathroom sink. It's really big, and also this nozzle comes off, which is really great for cleaning. And I really like these mirrors because they've got so much storage behind them. But also we added a little bit of storage on this side. Don't look at that, that's a mess. This is our laundry basket. And then over on this side, we have our washing machine, and Kay just added some shelves here for storage. And then through here, we have got the bathroom. This is what it looks like. Just a typical Japanese bathroom. It's pretty common to have the bathtub set up like this because it's very common to have baths in a Japanese household, especially in winter. Over there, you can kind of see it's got these button things, right? So you can automate heating the water for your bath. This is kind of like the on-off button. This is the priority button, so it means that even if other people are using hot water, it will prioritize heating the bathtub. This is the call button, so if you need to call someone, which is especially useful for like older people who maybe fall in the tub or need assistance, they can press this and call whoever they need to. This button lets you reheat the hot water, and this button lets you automatically fill up the hot tub with hot water. But you shower separately, so you would shower on this side here, sit on this little stool here, and then shower here. You can also stand, as you can see. And then once you're clean, you hop in the bathtub. But yeah, pretty typical Japanese bathroom setup. And then coming into the living room. So this is our LDK, living, dining, kitchen area. This is my office space here. This is our dining space here, and then we've got the kitchen kind of separated over here. So when we come into the living room, take off the slippers for the carpet area. How cool is this carpet? I really, really like it. It kind of reminds me of the kind of white pebble gardens that they have at temples in Japan with like the rake marks on them. I don't know, that's what it looked like. That's why we bought it. And we got two. They don't really fit, but it kind of feels like it's separating my office, so to speak, with the dining and kitchen area. And this is a really cool table that has like a space where you can put all this kind of stuff, which is really handy, so we can sit and just kind of grab salt or like notebooks and whatever. As you may have noticed, we don't have a sofa. We originally made that decision back when we were living in Melbourne, Australia, because at any point, one of us was either passed out or doom scrolling on the sofa. So we made the executive decision to get rid of it, to try and make this more of a productive space. And then if we wanted to rest, we could go to bed, like the physical bedroom. What has ended up happening is that we just end up lying on the floor here, which is fine because it's clean, but we're trying to make it as uncomfortable as possible to relax in this space so that we can try and associate this space with, for example, productivity or eating, and then the bedroom with resting. I don't know if it's working, but that's what we're doing. Also, this is my painting. I didn't do it for context. I just own it. I bought it at a flea market in Osaka, which, by the way, if you're coming to Osaka, you should definitely go see, for 100
yen. I actually bought 2 of them. One of them I can't figure out where to hang up in the house. I've tried it in a few different places and it just doesn't seem to work. Whereas this one just looks really good, looks good from far away, looks good from up close. When we're eating, I sit on this side, so Kay gets to enjoy 2 beautiful things. And then over here on this side, we've got these mysterious sliding doors. Ooh, what could this be? This is my favorite room. We'll do that in a sec. Let's go to the kitchen first. Okay, so this is our kitchen, complete with dishwasher, which is really great. I think it's a really good size kitchen for this kind of apartment, which is really nice. We've got this shelf here that is actually really cool. It's designed to be earthquake resistant. I don't know how much I believe it. It's cool in theory. It's got these locks inside of the cabinet doors, which apparently are supposed to automatically lock when there's a tremor, but also they close really smoothly, which is really nice. However, these do not close, so I always forget which one it is. This is our cute little secondhand fridge. Yes, I am aware that it looks very cute and small in this space. My sister has already taken the piss out of it. I'm just glad that it fits into the house. And we've got this piece of sliding cabinet to provide us some extra storage. Not the hugest fan of how this looks, but it's good for keeping snacks in there because it's so annoying to pull out and it kind of adds a barrier to snacking. We got this awesome rice cooker. We got the second hand as well on Mercari. We decided to go with a bit of a fancy one because apparently this one makes really tasty brown rice, and we've been trying to make a conscious effort to consume less white rice and more brown rice because it's better for you. Unfortunately, brown rice doesn't taste as good as white rice, so we were hoping that rice cooker that makes nice tasting brown rice will help encourage us to consume more brown rice. I really like how big this sink is. I didn't realize how small sinks in Australia were until I came to Japan. Kay would always complain about how small the sinks were in Australia. And then I came to Japan and I realized like these are so huge, and it's so good because the drain part of the sink is also huge. I don't know, just so much easier to use, and you get these net things that cover the drain. It just makes it really easy to clean. I really like that. Oh yeah, we've got a microwave slash oven slash grill thing and a kettle and some avocados. Avocados are so expensive in Japan. We eat avocados like candy back in Melbourne, and I didn't even realize how spoiled we were until we came to Japan. These ones were a bit cheaper, so we bought a few, so it's so nice having some avocados. Okay, let me show you my favorite room. So this is the washitsu, or Japanese room. It's a tatami floor. I was thinking if we get this place, I wanted to set this room up like a traditional Japanese room. I thought that would be really fun. We installed these Japanese paper screen doors that act as like a curtain, I guess, for the window, let in this really like beautiful soft lighting. It gives a really cool vibe of the place. I've made some ambient lighting, but obviously the lighting is not great. We've got this overhead one, which I'm not a huge fan of, so I try to not use it. Because as I was saying before, we don't have a sofa. We don't have like a chill space in the living room. So I wanted this space to be kind of like a self-care room where it's full of things that I like, and it's kind of an environment where I can recharge and just enjoy the space, but also to double as like a filming studio. Isn't that a cool background for a filming studio? Let me walk you through everything. This is a Japanese style tea table, I think it's called. Back in the day, there weren't any chairs, so people would sit on the floor and then the tables would be this height. These tables are still very common in Japan, but this is actually a kotatsu table, which means that when you plug it into electricity, there's a heater under here. So you can use a blanket to cover the table, stick your feet under, and you've got like a heated table, which is really, really pleasant during the winter months. So we're gonna do that when winter comes around. Very excited for that. I got these 2 maneki nekos, which are kind of like lucky cats. This is a Japanese toy. I don't know if you've ever seen it. The idea is you wanna get the ball landing on each of these like different surfaces. These are just really cute coasters that match the table. And then we're coming over to this bookshelf. Have you heard of Perfect Days, the movie Perfect Days? The main character lives in a very modest apartment in Japan, and in his main room, it's a tatami room, and he has like a horizontal bookshelf where he has like vinyl and all kinds of like magazines and like retro stuff. And so I was kind of inspired. I don't know what I'm going to put in the horizontal bookshelf yet. So if you have any ideas, please leave them down in the comments. I'm open. But up here, I have got this beautiful washi or Japanese paper style lamp. I got this on Nitori, which is like, I don't know, IKEA for Japan, maybe. It's kind of like an affordable homewares store. It's everywhere and they've got some pretty cool stuff. I've got this gorgeous little bonsai tree and I love how they look together. This is a sakura tree and we bought the sakura tree and this mini bonsai together when we went to a flea market in Kyoto at Toji Temple, which again, really good flea market. If you're in Kyoto on the 21st of any month, go to Toji Temple for the flea market. It's fantastic. And then I've just got this cute little vase and I don't really know how to arrange it. I've never worked with like a Japanese style vase before. I'm not really sure how I feel about this. I was thinking about originally putting sakura petals there. You can buy just like branches and one stem flowers at supermarkets and at florists in Japan. But now I've got a sakura, like an actual sakura tree here, which actually is starting to bud. It's really exciting. So we'll see what happens. I'm not really an interior designer. This is the first time I've set up a room thinking about more than just the practicalities of a room. This is my journal. One of my goals for this year is to journal more, like ideally every day. So I've put my journal here to hopefully motivate me when I sit here to just grab it. It's really close and journal every day. Is it working so far? Next question. And then on this side, we've also got a Japanese style paper lamp. This lamp is also from Nitori. It's really cool. You tap it to turn it off and like you can also change the color temperature from this is cooler all the way to warmer. And then over here I've got a beautiful Japanese scroll. So I also bought this at the Toji Temple Kyoto flea market for like $10. I wanted to get something that would fit into this room and I have never purchased a scroll before, but they always look super cool at like hotels and stuff. I think it looks really nice with the space. This room has an oshire, which is like a Japanese style closet with sliding doors similar to the ones that separate this room from the living room. And it's just got all my clothes and stuff, so it's just really messy. I'm not going to show it. It was really annoying sliding them to and fro to access stuff, so I actually ended up removing them. And what I'm thinking is I'm going to put a curtain, probably similar to the one that we have in the living room, to cover this wall here. There's also one more room, the bedroom. I'm not going to show you that one. It just feels a bit too private to share and it's just a bedroom. It's not super interesting. These are the interesting spaces. So anyway, let's talk about the actual apartment hunting and rental process. My laptop must look so out of place in this room. Anyway, I just want to start by saying that my husband is Japanese, so I think our rental process went a lot smoother than it could have. From what I've heard, it can be really difficult to rent a property in Japan if you're not a Japanese national. We didn't end up having any issues just because I'm not Japanese, which I'm very lucky to say. Obviously, everyone has different rental experiences. I just want to talk about my one because I thought it was really interesting and very different from past rental experience that I've had in Australia, specifically Melbourne, Australia, which can be a bit of a competitive market. So obviously the first thing we had to do was look for places, and we used apps like Sumo and Nifty, which are just kind of like rental listings apps on the phone, and you can narrow it down by filters based on what your requirements are. So I'll go through what our requirements were for the apartment. Obviously starting with location, we live in the Kansai area, so think Kyoto, Osaka, Nara, that region, and we just wanted to live with relatively good access to the city. So we just didn't want to be in the middle of nowhere, basically. And then price range. And I'm not going to go into our specific price range just for privacy reasons, but I'll give you like a general idea of what the average price range is for a 1 to 2 LDK apartment in the major cities like Tokyo, Osaka, Kyoto, just so you get an idea for anyone that's interested. LDK meaning living, dining, kitchen. So kind of like the setup we have here in this house where you've got a kitchen and a dining space and then like a living space separately. So there's space for both the dining and the living room, I guess. So to give you an idea, starting with Tokyo, which is the most expensive place, you're looking at anywhere anywhere from 60,000 yen a month all the way up to like 300,000 yen a month. But according to this nifty app, the most popular districts, you're looking at about somewhere between 130,000 yen to maybe like 200,000 yen. And then if we're looking at somewhere like Kyoto or Osaka, for a 1 to 2 bedroom apartment, it's going to be more closer to somewhere between 100,000 yen to about 130,000 yen. So Tokyo in comparison is nearly double the price. And for that reason, a lot of people actually live in the surrounding prefectures, not in Tokyo prefecture themselves, and then commute into work just because it's that much cheaper. And obviously then the price range is going to depend on how close you are to the station itself and a few other factors, and I'll go into them. For us, we were looking at 2 bedroom apartments, and I wanted the building to be made of concrete. So in Japan, there's a few different things that the apartments can be made of. You've got wood, which has the least insulation and least soundproofing. Then you've got steel, which kind of has better insulation and soundproofing. And then you've got concrete, which has the best insulation and soundproofing and is the most earthquake resistance and obviously the most expensive. So in Japan, you've got 2 different types of apartments. You've got something called a mansion and apato. So when you picture an apartment block, you're basically thinking of what is referred to as a mansion in Japan. And then an apato is kind of looks like a big house that's maybe divided up into 4 to 6 smaller units. And a lot of the time they are made of either wood or steel, and then the mansion is more likely to be made of concrete. So we were probably looking for a mansion. And it's also just really fun to say that you live in a mansion. And I guess then my only other non-negotiable was that it was built after 1981. And the reason 1981 specifically is because that's when there were new updated earthquake building regulations. So buildings built after 1981 had to be built to a higher level of earthquake safety to be able to withstand about a magnitude 6 or 7 earthquake. So anything built after 1981 has to be compliant with these regulations and is therefore in Japan considered earthquake safe. So that was my other non-negotiable. It took a while to kind of wrap my head around how to read these rental listings, but basically here up the top we've got the name of the building, its address, as well as the walking distance to the nearest train stations. So we can see here it's a 5-minute walk to the nearest subway line and a 7-minute walk to the nearest JR train line station. This building is also 26 years old and it is a 3-story building. And down here we can see the apartment is on the first floor. It is 65,000 yen as well as a 5,000 yen management fee. It's got the shikikin and reikin here, which I'll go into a bit later. And it is a 2DK apartment, which means it's 2 bedrooms with a dining and kitchen space, but there's no living room space. And it's about 43 meters squared. However, if we go into the actual floor plan, we can see that the rooms are not in meters squared. They're in a unit called jo. So here we've got 6 jo. And 1 jo is actually the size of 1 tatami mat. So we can see here in the Japanese room, this room is 6 jo. And we can actually see it's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 tatami mats. But I mean, this can make it a bit difficult to visualize the actual size of these rooms if you're not used to what a tatami mat looks like or how big it is. So that was a bit challenging. And then when we found a number of properties that we liked, it was time for the inspections. And this is where I had one of my biggest culture shocks, because with inspections in Japan, we would contact the real estate agent and book a time to inspect the property one-on-one with them, which was so different. In Melbourne, there would be an open house listing and you'd often get upwards of 20 people showing up to that rental property open house, especially if it was in a popular neighborhood. So it was just really nice to be able to have that one-on-one time to talk to them and inspect the property at your own pace. And the other big difference was that a lot of the time you're attending an open house in Melbourne while the previous tenant is still living there. So it'll still be their furniture. And one time when I showed up, the tenant was still sitting on the couch during the open house. So that was weird. It's kind of normal for the tenant to still be living there when they start looking for the next tenants. Whereas in Japan, the inspections will happen once the previous tenant has already moved out or all the furniture is gone. In the event that they're still living there when the listing goes up on the websites, there won't be any photos yet for the current tenant's privacy, and you also won't be able to go and inspect the property. So during busy periods, rental properties that have no photos will be going off the market before people even get a chance to see the photos or inspect the property, which is crazy. Sometimes we had a few listings with a specific agent. They would pick us up and then drive us to each of the listings, which was so much fun. I really love inspecting properties, especially in Japan, because it's so different. And it was really interesting seeing like what kind of common features and layouts there were, or what the differences were in price ranges. So we obviously saw that the further away you go from the train station, the bigger the place gets. So we went to see a few of those and kind of see if that was something we were willing to compromise on. A lot of the bathroom layouts all looked very similar to me. And then some kitchens didn't have a stove. You'd have to purchase that separately. And then a lot of places, they'll have this like sliding door partition for one of the rooms. So it's technically, when you open it, it's like a one big living room space, and a lot of them had these tatami rooms, which I was really surprised about, that they'd still have these kind of rooms. It's pretty cool. But yeah, after we did find this place and decided on it, we put in an application, and that is also a very different process from how it looks in Melbourne. In Melbourne, it feels more like a job application. You're not just giving proof of ID and proof that you can pay the rent. They will also want to see the addresses of places you have rented previously, and if possible, a reference letter from a previous landlord is a huge win. The landlord will pick who they think will be the best applicant from all the ones that get entered. And if you offer more money than the rent that's being asked, you are more likely to progress. Whereas in Japan, it's more of a first come, first serve basis. You're also providing proof of ID and proof that you can pay the rent, but you don't need to provide previous rental histories. What's really common is to have a guarantor company that will kind of ensure that the landlord is getting their rent every month. So instead of having like a personal reference or like a family member to co-sign your lease, you pay this company to guarantee your rent. And oh my God, moving is so expensive in Japan. First of all, another big culture shock. You have these things called shikikin and reikin. Shikikin is like the security deposit money, which you give to the landlord, and then you get most of that back. Some of it's used for, I think, cleaning and stuff, but most of it comes back. And then the reikin is key money, which you just give to the landlord. That doesn't come back. It's like a gift. That was really interesting. And generally they are 1 month's rent each. So if you're looking at $1,000 a month in rent, you are also paying $1,000 for the shikikin and $1,000 for the baking when you're moving in, plus moving fees, which really, really add up. Japan has some really cool moving companies where they come in and they beautifully package all your things into a moving truck and help you move. And it's really cool to see, but not to pay for. So right off the bat, you pay so much money to move house in Japan. But anyway, we moved in. I've had so much fun setting this place up. Japan's got so many convenience stores, and we also got a lot of secondhand stuff from Mercari, which is like kind of like a Facebook marketplace, but one that functions really well because it's based on a rating system, so people are held accountable, as well as Second Street, which is like a big thrift store chain where I found all these super cool antique Japanese treasures.
Look at all the Japanese faces.
We shopped a lot at Nitori as well, which, like I said before, is kind of like a Japanese version of IKEA. It has everything from like beds to these unique storage containers. And we use this app called Fitable. I bought the storage piece online, and I needed to find storage boxes that could fit on it here.
このコンテナ、この幅とこの奥行きには1個はないけど、じゃあこの2つ半分にしたやつだったらありますよとか、IKEA、Amazon 売ってますよとか、3等分にできるやつはケイン、Amazon 売ってますよみたいな。7個もいける。コンテナもいっぱい売ってますよ。ダイソーこれ7個買ったら揃いますよ。
I've always loved this kind of traditional retro Japanese aesthetic, but it's so unaffordable to buy something like this lamp or bonsai in Australia, or I don't even know if you could find anyone to install a tatami room in Australia, even if you had the money for it. So I don't know when else I'm going to have a chance to design this kind of room. So I've just been having so much fun. So if anyone has any suggestions for how else I can decorate the room or what else to put behind me here, please let me know down in the comments. I'm open to any suggestions. And let me know, do you want to see more house content, stuff like cooking vlogs or like day in the life stuff? I do plan on making more Japanese food for myself anyway. So if there are enough people interested, I'd be happy to film it or anything like that. Please let me know down in the comments. But thank you for watching and see you in the next one.
Do you want the house tour? I could take you to the first, second, third, fourth. And I promise none of this is